Greetings, friends, and welcome to the What's Right show. Sam Mirejovsky here behind the What's Right microphone. Yes, happy Wednesday, June 11th. Speaking of that, apparently the ICE protests are coming to Vegas today. Multiple posts on X and other social media sites suggest that organizers have scheduled a small demonstration starting at 7 p.m. at the ICE field office. This is about a mile away from my office on Las Vegas Boulevard. SEIU Local 1107 is one of the groups supporting the event. And this is where it all comes, sort of home to roost for me, because it reminds me of the summer of George, August 2020, when, if you'll recall, there were a number of protests across the country, riots even, businesses burned, communities thrashed, people died, horrible stuff. And in the midst of it, some of the lunacy came to Las Vegas. Now, here's, I guess, let me back up. When I used to live in California, once upon a time, before I became Nevada's favorite recovering Californian, I lived in a city called Irvine. And if you're familiar with Irvine, you'll know it is probably the most boring place on the whole planet. And Robbie, you're laughing. Well, you grew up there. I grew up there. It's when people describe Irvine, it's safe, right? Is that a good way of putting it? It's safe. And that's about it. Neatly manicured, you could also add. Boring as all hell. But when downtown LA is on fire, for example, right now, when you have mostly peaceful protests, as described by the libs, taking place 35, 40 miles away, Irvine and its boringness starts to sound pretty good. And I remember, making commentary about various, conflagrations and liberal violence across the country, before I moved to Vegas, so pre-2020. And I would talk about things very much in the abstract. Meaning I would say, look what's going on in, even if it was LA, even if it was, 40 miles away, look what's going on in LA, look what's going on in New York, look at Seattle. Remember the CHOP, the Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone, whatever it was called, right? So I would look at that, the Occupy Wall Street movement. It was removed from me, is my point. And then came 2019. I moved to Vegas, Nevada in 2019. Along comes COVID. I begin investing in downtown Vegas, immediately fall in love with the arts district. Absolutely love it here. And we get thrashed by COVID. The shutdown was brutal for my business, for my neighborhood. Okay. And we start coming out of it, and the organized NGO supported goons begin rampaging through downtown. And there are a lot of people that talk about these riots. They talk about these, we'll call them protests, if we're going to use the liberal vernacular. It's protests, and talk about them in very abstract terms. It doesn't necessarily affect them in any way. The nights of unrest that we have in Vegas were nights that I didn't sleep. If I fell asleep for a minute, I quickly woke up again to check the cameras. I fully expected I would come back to my building and have the glass smashed in and, things stolen, computers. And I was ready for it. Resigned even. I was angry, right? Because no business owner should feel that kind of fear over their business. There's so many things that you face as a business owner, and this is something that is preventable. And by the way, it's being perpetrated by an army of miscreants who themselves, one, by and large, have never achieved anything of any importance. They're complete losers, okay? You look at LA right now. Who has time to protest 5-6 days in a row, okay? You don't have a freaking job, right? And two, you realize that there's a huge amount of money, some of it my taxpayer dollars that I've sent to Washington over the many years of being a productive citizen, that are being turned around, laundered, and floated back into armies of people that are intended or serve a purpose of supporting Democrat causes. So this very infuriating. The more I've learned since the advent of Doge, the angrier I have been about this. I'm not here foaming at the mouth. I'm just telling you that when I read about a protest, quote unquote, that's going to be happening in downtown, and the same SEIU agitators, NGO agitators are behind this, as are behind the protests, again, quote unquote, protests in LA, in Seattle, now in Chicago, I think to myself, oh boy, here we go again. And I'm not particularly excited about it, to be blunt. So that's where I'm at now. Obviously, and this is my view. Obviously, this is a spreading beyond California because the California model, the LA model, has demonstrated that these violent clashes can serve a political purpose. I'm not saying that it is going to be long-term a political success for the Democrats to operate this way. In fact, I actually believe the opposite. But as of right now, Democrats think that they are getting away with it. They think they are being extremely cute. And the cuteness is what? On one hand, funding and supporting these protests. For example, we have the Churla group that got $34 million last year, in 2023, going into 2024. Yes. So $34 million, that was what, state money given to them by and large, exclusively by the state of California, taxpayers in California funding then the group that was behind delivering equipment, including cinder block bricks to rioters in LA that were then used to smash businesses so that looters could go in and destroy the livelihoods of productive Californians. This anarcho-tyranny that the left supports, right? And it's working because lives are being ruined. That's the point of this. It's not an anti-ICE protest. It is a Go F America protest. It is a war on the productive, on the capitalist class, because these Marxists want to take down our competitive capitalist economy. And you always have to think, who benefits? Right? I'm a lawyer. When I look at something, I look at a problem, I have to figure out, liability and things like that. And I always go, who's benefiting here? Who's the, if I work this problem, from the result, back, where does it take me? And here, I'm looking at this and I go, well, of course, I can understand why the Walmart heiress, whatever the hell her name is supporting the, the day of rage against King Trump. It kind of makes sense, even though the Walmart people are apoplectic over it, but it makes sense that people like, well, he's changed his tune a little bit now that Trump is back in power, but Jeff Bezos of Amazon was a BLM supporter. What happens when small businesses are destroyed, burned, eliminated? Good for Amazon? Uh-huh. Good for Walmart? Ditto that. Sometimes you just have to work backwards on these things. Now, when it comes to a city, and let me tell you this now, not as a lawyer, not even as a radio host, but let me tell you this as a Las Vegan, as somebody who is so in love with my beautiful city. If people come here to damage our town, I will make it my life's mission to find you, to make sure you are prosecuted, that your life is miserable. I may have just a small little part here of downtown Las Vegas, but I know my neighbors. I know every one of their stories. I know all these small businesses that are here. What we have gone through in the last 5 years to see to it that our city regenerates in the wake of the COVID cluster mess is something I can't even begin to describe. There are people here in this neighborhood, small business owners, restaurant owners, that almost killed themselves over this. And it's no exaggeration. They've put everything into their little store front business, whether, again, it's a store, a restaurant, an office, a pub, bar, etc. It's not easy. You want a bunch of commie pinkos storm in here under the guise of fighting ICE, but really advancing neo-Marxism in the United States of America, come in here and destroy it, you're on notice, because I will make it my mission to destroy you. And not just you, but the organizations that support you. We're in an existential fight, okay? That's what this is about. This is not a time for mincing words or getting the vapors over convention and politeness and good vibes. I'm done with vibes. I'm done with good convention. I'm done with being Mr. Nice Republican. These people are radicals, and the only way that you fight radicals is to eradicate them. And they have to be rooted out. So that's my take. I hope Kevin McMahill and our governor, which of course we've got a good governor, a good sheriff, don't let this thing get out of hand. And you'll see a difference. This is my prediction. You'll see a difference of how it is handled in a state like Nevada versus how it's handled in a state like California, a city like LA, state like Illinois and Chicago, Washington and Seattle, etc. Taking a quick break, Sam Mirejovsky, News Talk 840 KXNT. The What's Right show is brought to you by Sam and Ash Injury Law. In a crash, call Sam and Ash 702-820-1234 because you deserve what's right.
I'm the best.
Personal injury law has been the same for a long time.
The best.
Big egos, greed, and sleazy schemes. We've had enough. Welcome to Sam and Ash, the new standard for personal injury law, where things are done the right way, because you deserve a team that delivers real support and results. When you have both, your whole world can change. Sam and Ash Injury Law, because you deserve what's right.
Isn't it fascinating that the government wants to get its hands dirty into everything, absolutely everything in our lives, while it fails in its primary mission of maintaining law and order, repelling an enemy invasion, etc., etc. Sam Mirejovsky, News Talk 840 KXNT. Friends, welcome to the What's Right Show. Sam at whatsrightshow.com is my email. And of course, please follow me on Twitter, now known as X. It's free. You can open an account there. Very easy to do. Everyone you know and you like and you need to hear from is on X. So go on there and follow me at What's Right Sam. Okay. You know, Newsom gave a televised speech yesterday. That's right. This was his monumental address, not just to the state of California, but to the nation. You could almost consider this, Robbie, if you squint, look at it hard enough, as the kickoff to Newsom's presidential campaign. Now, and by the way, if you were tuning into the speech live, this is what you would have heard. Now, I just want you to pay very close attention to this because this is how the speech started. Oh, there's no audio. Well, that's because there was no audio. The speech, pre-recorded, okay, went live with no audio playing. Now, can I just say, just a little aside, isn't this just one great example of how completely funked up the state of California is? I mean, look. This is, what is this, like the seventh largest economy in the world? Okay, California is, if it were its own country, which is starting to sound like a pretty good idea. If it was its own country, not annexed by Mexico, no, just its own state, it would be the seventh largest economy, eighth largest economy in the world, depending on the metrics. And they can't even get out the gubernatorial address properly. These people are incompetent. You want them to keep you safe. You want them to have, fire protection for your homes. You want them to have water in reservoirs. You want them to arrest criminals. Oh, no, they can't even play a video. So just putting that where it is. Now, the speech opened up with a tirade against Trump. None of this was, it was all political. That's why I'm saying it was a campaign speech more than anything. It was a political speech. It was very hostile, obviously, to Trump. And the framing of it was that Trump is to blame for the violence. Now, I'm not going to spend all day today refuting that point. If you believe that, if you actually believe that Trump is responsible for the violence that is occurring in LA, then you need to get your head examined. I'm not going to be able to get through to you. But I'm just putting this out there because it matters to the context of what is happening here, or what will be happening here tonight in Vegas. And the issue, the particular issue is, I mentioned this at the top of last segment, there's going to be a protest, quote unquote, organized. It's a big organized protest. All the typical, dirty actors are involved. Big protest tonight at the ICE field office, Las Vegas Boulevard, about a mile from me where I am at in the Arts District. So it's, it's close. It certainly has me worried. Anyway, this protest is scheduled for tonight, Wednesday night, June 11th, 7 p.m. And, there've been a number of protests leading up to it. And they, our Clark County Commissioner, Tick Segerblum, who's, the pothead that shuffles into every possible event and speaks complete nonsense. Segerblum attended a rally a few days ago on the 9th. This was also organized by the SEIU, Local 1107, and this was in front of the federal courthouse. Now, Segerblum, when he spoke there, and this is a big lib if you don't know who Tick is. Tick is, county commission, big-time liberal, and he speaks for the commie pinkos. All right? Now, here's what Tick said. And I'm going to read the quote. If Trump wants to bring the National Guard into Las Vegas, he's going to destroy our economy forever. He warned that such actions could lead to significant unrest. Quote, this town is going to blow up, and he, meaning Trump, is going to be sorry. Close quote. Listen to Newsom. It's almost like he's getting his talking points from Governor Newsom. That's what we've got here. Liberals in Nevada bowing down to commie pinko Californians, and they somehow still get elected. It's abominable. Here's Newsom's point. And this is exactly what Newsom is saying here. It's all Trump's fault. All of it.
Everyday Angelenos came out to exercise their constitutional right to free speech and assembly, to protest their government's actions. In turn, the state of California and the city and county of Los Angeles sent our police officers to help keep the peace. And with some exceptions, they were successful. Like many states, California is no stranger to this sort of unrest. We manage it regularly and with our own law enforcement. But this, again, was different. What then ensued was a use of tear gas, flashbang grenades, rubber bullets. Federal agents detaining people and undermining their due process rights. Donald Trump, without consulting California law enforcement leaders, commandeered 2,000 of our state's National Guard members to deploy on our streets, illegally and for no reason.
for no reason. Now, when we come back, I'm going to counter this argument, right? I'm going to get to this because it's important. Cannot let this happen in Las Vegas. Hi, welcome back. Sam Mirejovsky here behind the What's Right microphone. Friends, welcome to the What's Right show, your place for common sense conservatism, Monday through Friday, 1 to 3 p.m., right here on News Talk 840 KXNT. All right. So, apparently sending in the National Guard, according to Newsom in his televised address that began at first to air with no sound. I guess it was pre-recorded, wasn't live. By the way, besides California being the top economy, one of the top economies of the world, isn't it also like a place where Hollywood, video production is top of the tops? I guess they couldn't figure out how to work a replay machine. Regardless, okay, so here it is. Newsom, finally, replay the thing. It comes back with a different color, too. Did you notice that? Suddenly it was color corrected. It's like they loaded the wrong tape. Anyway, play it, and Newsom says that sending in the National Guard is brazen. It's awful. It's an overreaction. And then he goes on to say that Trump chose to escalate this, that his intent is to traumatize communities. Here's what Newsom said.
Thanks to our law enforcement officers and the majority of Angelenos who protested peacefully, the situation was winding down and was concentrated in just a few square blocks downtown. With that's not what Donald Trump wanted. He again chose escalation. He chose more force. He chose theatrics over public safety. He federalized another 2,000 Guard members. He deployed more than 700 active U.S. Marines. These are the men and women trained for foreign combat, not domestic law enforcement. Donald Trump's government isn't protecting our communities. They're traumatizing our communities. And that seems to be the entire point. California will keep fighting.
Here's a compilation of various looting videos over the course of several days, preceding even days before the National Guard was called onto the scene. You have a look at this and tell me what actually is causing trauma to communities across Los Angeles. This is an Adidas store. They just smashed down the front glass.
Here's a security guard.
Here you can see looters running into the Apple store, smashing windows, grabbing product. Like a beautiful store that's been being destroyed. Here they are attacking a beloved sushi restaurant. Here's the Nike store getting looted. Rioters and looters carrying Mexican flags going into that store. And here is a jewelry store getting broken into. Now, I bring up the jewelry store because this may very well have been the store where Fox LA then interviewed the owners of which, after the downtown jewelry mart was looted. And this is gut-wrenching, right? Listen to this. This is a reporter, again, Fox LA, talking to the owner and his daughter, Sheila.
It is the mom and pop businesses that have also been looted that are heartbreaking. Joining me now live, Nimat, his daughter Sheila. They've been in the jewelry business, Nathan's Jewelers, since 1987 here on South Hill. And we're going to show you the shattered glass in just a moment. Why take out whatever issues people have on you, a small business owner?
Not only me, it's a lot of people. There is so many people.
How does this affect you?
Very bad.
By the way, this is heartbreaking. Again, I'm just drawing a conclusion based on the way this man sounds and looks that he is an immigrant. He's a productive immigrant. He's a business owner. Let's make a wild guess and say he's in the country legally. Okay? This isn't the Democrat Party goons being pro-immigrant. It's not about pro-immigrant. They're not pro this immigrant. These people are pro-illegal immigrants who can be used as pawns in their political machine. They want the kind of immigrants that give them political power. And that is not this man, Nahmat, or his daughter, Sheila. The interview continues.
Very bad.
There were reports, Sheila, of up to 100 looters at a time at a jewelry business.
Crazy. Very crazy, very sad, very terrible.
And your dad works really hard. I'm sure you work really hard, too. This is a small family-owned business, and there's no insurance.
No. No.
How is this going to affect your family?
Really bad. Really bad. People are stupid. People are stupid. What can you do?
And why target you? You have nothing to do with any of this.
I know. I don't know why.
Another store owner, this was an interview done by News Nation, said the looters are not protesting. This has nothing to do with protests. Listen.
This is so ridiculous. Doesn't look like this is for they're protesting for ICE or anything. This is they're doing just for the looting the stores and everything. I saw they break into the Apple store, they break into the Adidas store. This is not they're doing protest.
Again, right? Looting is not a protest. We all agree on that, right? And you've noticed, by the way, that the libs have begun to throw into their various literature nonviolent protests. We're organizing a nonviolent protest, almost on cue, because they're fighting the accusation that they're propagating this, which of course they are. But I need to understand from the people out there whose minds I cannot possibly change that this was all created and done by Trump. This is the accusation that is coming from, of course, Governor Newsom. Let me ask you, and by the way, Tick Segerblom here in Nevada saying, don't send in the National Guard, Trump, or else you're going to blow up the city. F you, Tick. Go smoke a joint and climb a tree. To all of you, right, explain to me how sending in the National Guard to protect federal buildings is causing people to loot, vandalize, destroy businesses. Right? Do we not believe in individual agency? Right? I mean, that's a fundamental question. Do we not believe that each individual that is participating in this has the freedom to choose to do this or to not do it? Because Trump's not making you do anything. But I will tell you that the lawlessness on the streets, the permissiveness by the state of California, the authorities in Los Angeles under Mayor Karen Bass, give a license to bad behavior, which then these criminals can choose to conduct criminal activities. We can't, as politicians, as city elders, the police, we can't, control what a criminal chooses or doesn't choose to do. But what we can do is create a system of strong disincentives. So my point here is that it's the state of California creating the conditions, the incentives to do this, because they can't possibly, they're allowing it to happen. And there's a blueprint for it going back to, even before George Floyd, going back to, the Occupy Wall Street people and the Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone in Seattle, et cetera. It's not Trump, okay? It's not it's not even the ICE arrests that are triggering this. And listen to these protesters who are blocking a street. A woman is stuck in traffic trying to get to work. The woman is black. And two white liberal crazy people are blocking her access from her work. And listen to the condescension.
But I have a kid. If I don't and these people are having their children taken and their parents. What about my kids? I need their job.
Look at this.
Then what happens to my kids? I can't help you. This is what's going to happen. But you can if you could just move out the way. We're not going to. How is this a peaceful protest if there's nothing to do? No, it's not.
How do y'all as white people feel about stopping a black woman from going to work?
Oh no, not work. I care so much.
So you don't care about stopping black people from going to work?
Look at this line that you guys are causing. I'm not causing no problems. I'm not trying to. We're just trying to leave.
She just wants to leave. She just wants to go to work. And what do they say? Right? So, oh, work. Oh, please, work. So these white, liberal, maybe well-to-do, maybe work from home. I don't know. Maybe there's some company out there, some website design business that has an employee that's been less than productive the last couple of days because they are out protesting ICE, engaged in this kind of activity, meanwhile getting big paychecks, and working people who have to get to a job and show up in person are being not just inconvenienced, but are being prevented in their quest for productivity. But this is what the socialists want, right? They want this kind of mayhem out on the streets. Very concerned that we will have this coming here to Las Vegas. I can tell you that certainly. Now, when we come back, I want to go a little bit back here and talk about Gavin Newsom's credibility, because if you're going to believe him in his various assessments, you're going to say that Gavin Newsom is truthful when he says that Trump caused this thing to blow up out of control and everything was fine and it was just a little skirmish contained within a few city blocks. And you've got to trust Gavin Newsom and his veracity. Well, I don't. And there's some examples of this past week where Gavin Newsom has been, well, can we say, less than honest. Sam Mirejovsky, News Talk 840, KXNT, the What's Right Show, brought to you by Sam and Ash Injury Law, because you deserve what's right. Sam, why do you keep talking about Gavin Newsom? We're in Nevada over here. Why does Gavin Newsom matter so much? You don't live in California anymore. Well, friends, let me tell you why. Because Gavin Newsom wants to be president of all of us. And if that happens, well, I think we'd be pretty screwed. Sam Mirejovsky here, News Talk 840 KXNT. Greetings and welcome to the What's Right Show. Sam at what'srightshow.com. Just got a couple emails here during the break. Ellen writing, current California is a snapshot of America with Gavin Newsom as president. Ellen, you're absolutely right. That's what this is all about. Have a look at what's going on in California. Tell me if that sounds like a good plan to you. And then SW got your email here. Thank you for writing it. I'm going to get to this here. I remember, this is SW writing me. I remember when I first emailed you saying that Gavin Newsom was destroying California while he was mayor of SF, allowing the 49ers to leave. I said he hasn't a snowball's chance in heck to be president. You didn't agree, but I knew what a moron and prevaricating clown he was and is. I still don't agree. I mean, agreed on all points, but I think we as Republicans, as conservatives and common sense Americans have to be very aware of the fact that that Biden, oh my gosh, that having a Biden moment, that Gavin Newsom it could very well become president. Do not underestimate this guy, folks. Please, 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 please. Newsom is, well, right now, let me put this into a little bit of a context. Right now, Newsom is campaigning for the Democratic nomination. So he's running as a Democrat. His speech, when you listen to it, the whole thing, Trump, 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 blah, 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 Trump, 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 all that, that is geared for a Democrat primary voter audience. I cannot conceive of a universe where Democrats in the primaries do not elect or nominate, I should say, Gavin Newsom. One, because I think he'll have some popular support, and two, he's got the whole party apparatus behind him. He's paid his dues. He's made, he's put in the time. He supported Biden. He supported Kamala. The guy was choking down vomit with every fake lie statement that he made to support these clowns. So he's there, and he will have the support of a majority of the superdelegates. Now, the thing about Newsom is that he's one of these people that lies even about things that don't really matter. I don't know, parents out there, do you have kids that sometimes, like one of my daughters, I won't say which one, but one of my daughters, she just lies about things that she doesn't even have to lie about. It doesn't even matter. But and importantly too, they're terrible lies because they're easily disproven. Okay, and this is the issue here with Gavin Newsom and the phone call. Have you been following up on this? Gavin Newsom sent out a tweet, all right, saying that he had not spoken to Trump. That Trump, I mean, basically, there was no call, not even voicemail. Trump just did this. We deployed Marines with streets, not even know what was going on. He wasn't even communicating with the governor. And that happened after Trump had said that he'd spoken to Newsom. Let me play the tape here. This was Tuesday morning. Yesterday morning, in the Oval Office, Trump was asked about this and gave this response. Have a listen.
President, when is the last time you spoke with Governor Newsom?
A day ago. Called him up to tell him, got to do a better job. He's doing a bad job, causing a lot of death and a lot of potential death. If we didn't send out the National Guard, and last time we gave him a little additional help, you would have, Los Angeles would be burning right now. Los Angeles would be not a lot different than what you saw take place in California and Los Angeles just a little while ago.
Okay, so this is on Tuesday. Trump saying, a day ago. So then Newsom, like I said, he said, oh, no call, no call, no call. Then Tuesday afternoon, yesterday, after the show, Fox anchor John Roberts basically goes, yeah, this is, Trump releases the screenshot of the calls that he was trying to make, and this is what Fox reports.
President Trump contacted me from Air Force One on his way to Fort Bragg, North Carolina, where he'll be in just a little while. He said the first call to Gavin Newsom was not picked up. The second call Gavin picked up. We spoke for 16 minutes. I told him to essentially, quote, and this is quoting the president, get his ass in gear and stop the riots, which were out of control more than anything else. This shows what a liar he is. Said I never called. So here is the evidence. And here is the call log that the president sent me from his phone. This was June the 7th. Now, granted, this was on Saturday. But look, there's 1:22 o'clock in the morning, which would have been 10 o'clock at night, 10:22 at night, California time.
Wow. So this comes out. And by the way, I'm looking at it. There are two calls, June 7th at 1:23 a.m. and at 1:22 a.m. was the one that was 4 seconds he didn't pick up. 1:23 a.m. outgoing call. Gavin Newsom picks it up, and it shows the call for 16 minutes. This is the standard iPhone readout. Now, a couple of comments. Number one, Trump is awake at 1:30 in the morning to talk to Gavin Newsom. By the way, Washington, D.C., as you know, East Coast time, 3 hours ahead. So what's 10:30 at night in the midst of a crisis for a governor, not very late at night? Trump is awake and is talking to Newsom. And when this all gets released, what is Newsom's reply to this? Well, late last night, Newsom replied. And he goes, oh, this call was 3 days ago. Trump doesn't even know what day it is. And I'm looking at it, so Trump was off by a day. Really talked to him like a day and a half earlier when you go back to that press conference on Tuesday morning. He really was just off by a little bit. So Gavin Newsom doesn't deny that the call took place. And by the way, I'd like to make another point. Earlier, the better, right? Trump did call Newsom before he deployed the troops. That's an important point, too. God, this guy is such a phony. And this is his Achilles heel, right? These stupid lies that are easy to disprove. Sam Mirejovsky back after this. Rarely wrong, always right. Sam Mirejovsky here behind the What's Right microphone. Greetings, friends, and welcome to the program. sam@whatsrightshow.com is my email. Email me, and I do check these emails, particularly during the show. So if there's something relevant in our discussion here that you'd like me to comment on, I do check those and will reply. Okay. All right. I have to, but you saw the economic data, by the way, very good. We have finally, I guess Trump was able to deliver on Biden's promise to make inflation transitory. Yes, because it's going down. It's good, and it's beating the estimates that a number of financial analysts have predicted. CNN reporter Matt Egan today on CNN almost pained to have to say that the economy is, on the subject of inflation, looking pretty dang good, even if you reduce the data to the most essential numbers. Have a listen to this. Absolutely astonishing.
Well, John, look, we got another month of positive inflation news. Despite these historic tariffs, the latest numbers do show that inflation remained relatively tame in May. So the big number is the annual rate that came in at 2.4%. That is a slight acceleration from 2.3% in April, but this was better than expected. Month over month, prices were up by just 0.1%. Again, that's better than expected, and that's actually a deceleration from what we saw in April. Now, one reason why these inflation numbers came in very much better than expected is because we did see a drop in energy prices. In particular, gas prices were low. Now, economists like to look at core inflation because that excludes food and energy, but that also came in better than expected. I'm digging into some of the categories. We did see that egg prices, they did fall on a month-over-month basis again, so that is a good sign.
Yeah, it is a good sign. By the way, the egg price is sort of nonsense because we know that the egg prices were artificially high because the Biden administration ordered a cull of hens, of chickens, laying eggs. So this is just normal thing, right? The supply was temporarily halted and arrested, and you had obviously supply still supply very low and demand high. So what happens to prices? They go up big time. So, but anyway, the prices are down. There was an enormously entertaining moment today at a congressional hearing. Linda Sanchez, a Democrat, where from, of course, California, did not like getting interrupted by Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent. Sanchez tries to claim that they've seen prices going up on goods. Now, mind you, literally as this is taking place, CNN is reporting that prices across the board are going down, and that the basically the rate, the inflationary rate, has slowed to 0.1% month over month, and we're expecting, the annual rate was basically 2.4, and the acceleration rate was 2.3 in April. So it's just a huge improvement. Now, that memo was not received by Ms. Sanchez, who, when corrected, immediately did what every leftist does when confronted with facts. You don't want to miss this.
In fact, we've already seen that prices are rising on many everyday goods.
Congresswoman,
please
today,
don't interrupt me.
We had
the time is mine. The time is mine. Please don't interrupt me. I will ask you questions and I will grant you an opportunity to answer them, but please don't interrupt me during my time.
With pleasure.
Okay, I know I'm a woman, but please try to limit yourself to answering my questions. No, I'm sorry, but we get talked over all the time.
I could see why people talk over you, lady. Gosh, this is the stupid people in Congress. I love it. I love it. I love it. You're talking over me because I'm a woman. No, he's talking over you because you're stupid. Your gender has nothing to do with it. She's lying. I mean, I'm playing the tape from CNN same day. All right? I'm going to go on a wild limb here and say that if CNN agrees, probably, it is what it is. Okay. So there is a thread here. Okay. Remember, again, right before the top of the hour, taking you through the mess surrounding Gavin Newsom's lie over the phone call. Simple thing. Phone call. Trump never called me. Oh, here's a phone call. Oh, it was 3 days ago. Huh? The denial, by the way, coming 2 days after the original statement saying that Trump never called. Oh, he called me. It was 3 days ago. Yeah, but or a day and a half have already gone by since your original statement. It's so good. He didn't even deny. He could have said it was doctored. He could have said it was fake. I could have kept the lie going. He's like, that was 3 days ago. Truth doesn't matter to these people. Truth, like inflation under Biden, transitory. It just kind of, comes and goes. Interesting that this also pertains to people like Greta Thunberg. Have you been following this story? So Thunberg, the little gremlin from Sweden, Saint Greta, she got her start complaining about climate change. She's the one who was scowling at the UN when Trump walked in. I posted the GIF of that, Robbie, yesterday, because Thunberg's back in the news. So a much younger version of her, when she was visiting the UN to talk about climate change, and in walks Donaldus Maximus, a.k.a. President Trump 1.0. Trump 45 walks in like Trump does. He kind of sucks all the oxygen out of the room. He's tall, he's big, he's shockingly orange. All the things that people say about him, who love him, who hate him, doesn't matter. The guy is power when he walks in someplace. And Greta Thunberg looked like one of the lost munchkins from Munchkinland, who had just swallowed a porcupine. That's what she looked like. It's awful. Scowling with this little scowl on her face. So anyway, she gets on a little boat, small little sailboat, says she's going to break the blockade. They're going to rescue the Palestinians, bringing them food, whatever. I'm just stunt, obvious stunt. So Tuesday in Paris, en route back to Sweden, they're sending her back to Sweden. She gets deported from Israel. They put her on a nice El Al flight. I don't know if you saw the pictures. Yeah, they gave her a non-reclining seat at the back of the plane up against the lavatory. I thought that was great. Robbie, not going to lie. But it was still a nice plane, okay? Got a free ticket. Sent her back to France. From France, she flew to Sweden. Okay. Greta Thunberg starts with this thing that she was kidnapped. She's actually using the word kidnapped. So here's an interview. Here's the first part of the interview that she gives to one reporter.
On international waters, we were illegally attacked and kidnapped by Israel and taken against our will to Israel, where we were detained. And then some of us deported, some are still there. There are very big uncertainties because it was quite chaotic and uncertain. So I don't really know what's going on. I haven't had a phone for many days.
Okay. We were kidnapped. We were illegally attacked Did they enter, by the way, Israeli waters? I think they did. Regardless, they were intercepted on open waters, and if it was open waters, and brought in, okay, and kidnapped, right? They were turned around and sent away. By the way, would any of this have happened? I have a question. Would any of this have happened in Gaza, the land invasion, the war, if Hamas had immediately turned around and returned the hostages? So it's a great question, right? So anyway, second reporter goes, okay, so what happened? What happened here? What happened? We need details. This is where you can tell the whole thing begins to fall apart dramatically.
People were not being treated well. I was not able to say goodbye to people, and I don't know what's happening. And there were many issues.
When you say they're not treated well, what do you mean?
Well,
could you elaborate for us?
Obviously, in a very dehumanizing way. But of course, I have to stress nothing compared to what Palestinians are going through.
But still, can you give us some, what happened to you when you arrived in Ashdod port? I mean, were you taken off the boat? Was there any violence? Were you detained? How? Where?
No, I prefer not to go into details about that. We arrived there, we were detained, and then we were, yeah.
I don't want to. I don't want to get into any of that. Okay, were you hurt? Were you harmed? Were you whatever? What? Tell us details. No. This is it. She was arrested. They put her on an airplane and sent her in a nice, comfortable seat back to in the direction of her home country. End of story. All of it is a pack of scurrilous lies. And this is what they do. This is what the left does. They just lie. They make up facts because it's all based on emotion. Sam Mirejovsky, News Talk 840, KXNT. Back in a moment. Don't do that. Trump responded to this, by the way. You don't want to miss it.
The Sam and Ash team, they wanted me to have the best care. They had my interests at heart. I have an enormous amount of gratitude. I cannot say enough thank you.
All right, friends, welcome back. Sam Mirejovsky, News Talk 840, KXNT. All right. Trump responded to Greta Thunberg's claims that she was kidnapped by Israel. This was a hilarious exchange on Monday, and I've got now's the time to play it. So let me roll with it here.
Go ahead.
Do you have a message for Greta Thunberg, and did she come up on your call with the Prime Minister today?
Well, she's a strange person. She's a young, angry person. I don't know if it's real anger. It's hard to believe, actually, but I saw what happened. She's certainly different. Anger management. I think she has to go to an anger management class. That's my primary recommendation for her.
Kidnapped by Israel, as she says? Was she kidnapped?
I find it. I think Israel has enough problems without kidnapping Greta Thunberg.
And secondly, are you going to
Is that what she said? She was kidnapped by Israel?
Yes, sir.
Listen, if the presidency doesn't work out for Trump, he needs to do stand-up comedy. This is fantastic. I actually am going to even expand this kind of liberal lying a step further, right? Because, by the way, Trump's getting to the essence of it, right? How is this a kidnapping? It doesn't even add up. I don't think Israel really, it's like, well, she got into the country and she's gone the next day. Sounds like they detained her and sent her packing. By the way, a reasonable thing to do with somebody who is an uninvited guest in your country. After all, what we're trying to do here in the U.S. Okay. Now, let me just set this up briefly. It was quite the talk for me when I was in Orlando over the weekend. I did actually have a chance to go to Disney World. There were some friends of ours, and we're at Disney World. And, of course, there's this trans influencer. Have you heard about this? There's a guy who honestly, I mean, I guess, am I going to say this, Robbie? Okay, there's some trans women, meaning men dressed up as women, who look pretty convincing. And there's some that aren't. This one, who goes by Lily Tino, definitely does not look like a woman, all right? It's a dude who is dressing as a female. Why am I bringing this up? Okay, this Lily Tino person went to a bunch of bathrooms, female women's bathrooms in Disney World, and began filming videos and taking selfies with women in the background of those pictures. Now, this is, by the way, this is really, really not okay. You have classic example of this, man invading a female space and literally, and then filming women in the bathroom. If a guy if I were to walk into a woman's bathroom, I never do this, but if I were to walk into a woman's bathroom and start filming women in the bathroom, I'd get arrested. Okay? But this guy gets a pass because he's quote unquote trans. All right? So then following this controversy, he posts this video. And it's, again, this is all part of the liberal revisionism and lying and obfuscation that all these people do, whether it's, again, Gavin Newsom or, Greta Thunberg or, Lily Tino in Orlando, Florida. Listen to this.
Those Disney bathroom selfies got y'all real upset, huh? Saying, oh, Lily, you can't take selfies in the bathroom. It's not appropriate. Well, let me remind you that literally every celebrity you've ever enjoyed on screen has at one point taken a bathroom selfie. For example, and it's not just celebrities. Any woman you ever meet has likely taken a photo in a public bathroom. Why, you ask? Because we look cute and we want to document it. So what is different about me that I'm not allowed to take bathroom selfies? The easy answer here is, oh, Lily, you're a trans woman, so you get held to a different standard. And that is true. But people judge trans women differently depending on how well they pass. If you pass, that means you don't look trans. I know that I don't pass. Trust me, I know. But passing privilege is a real thing. There are some trans women out there who, no matter how hard they try, will never be able to pass. Do those trans women deserve to be treated differently? No. They should be able to take bathroom selfies too.
Now, those of you who are watching this, if you're on Spotify, YouTube, etc., you've got the video. This is nothing to do with the fact that this man looks like a man dressed as a woman. This has everything to do with the fact that he was going into female bathrooms and filming other women in the shot. You can see their faces. You're invading a private space and putting other people, pictures of them up on the internet. None of the photos that he shows of celebrities taking selfies in the bathroom have anyone else in them. The boom, boom, boom. He's showing all these pictures of, I don't even recognize some of these. I guess one of them is Kim Kardashian. Robbie, I'm judging that by the general shape of the person. It moves fairly fast. I don't know. Regardless, it's just, don't you think that there's a difference in that? Or tell me, am I taking crazy pills here? They're moving the goalposts. And it's this, the facts don't matter. Reality doesn't matter. They can just move and alter things as they need in order to, keep their political arguments alive. Think Ms. Sanchez in Congress. Prices are going up. Excuse me, Madam Congressman. I think that's actually not true. Oh, don't talk over me. You're just talking over me because I'm a woman. And here we have Lily Tino. Oh, the only people you're mad about this is because I'm a trans woman. I'm not just a trans woman. I'm a trans woman that doesn't pass as a trans woman because I've got this deep voice. People are clowns. by the way, I have to share this. There was an absolute murder committed by J.K. Rowling. Some trans woman said, shut the F up and go back to writing books. Nobody gives an F about your opinion on anything is crap except magic. And J.K. Rowling wrote, my opinion on magic is the same as my opinion on women with penises. Neither are real. However, if you want to prove me wrong, by all means, jump off a roof on a broomstick. Couldn't have said it better myself. Sam Mirejovsky, News Talk 840 KXNT. Back after this, folks. Don't go anywhere. Sam Mirejovsky here, Nevada's favorite recovering Californian, behind the What's Right microphone. Friends, my email, sam@whatsrightshow.com, sam@whatsrightshow.com, and on Twitter or X @whatsrightsam. If you listen to us on the radio, that's great. We also have, of course, a great podcast product that comes out shortly after we finish the live show. Find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, anywhere you get your podcasts, and now also on YouTube. So real easy. And if you like Twitter, if you like X and you're on there, you can get the whole show, video included, on @What'sRightShow. Okay. Let me tell you, by the way, going back to Gavin Newsom, hear me out, the likely Democrat nominee for president. The likely Democrat nominee for president, which is why I keep talking about him. 2028, I'm predicting it here. If all things are created equal and the same, Newsom is going to be the Democratic nominee. Now, maybe we'll do a little analysis in a moment. We'll finish the show with that. We'll do a little analysis of the pros and cons of that for us. I'm happy to have that conversation. But he's going to be the nominee, and so it's important to talk about it. It's important to be aware of it. We Republicans need to take it seriously, I think. And we also have to get at all these lies. This phone call lie is the second time that I can remember that Newsom has lied about being on the phone with the president. Do you remember this back in, January of 2025 during the fires in LA? I think this was filmed in Palos Verdes. This is a resident of Los Angeles, Rachel Darvish, confronted Gavin Newsom about the wildfire response in the Pacific Palisades. And so she comes running up to him. You've seen this video, I'm sure. But here, let's play the video.
You got a second? Governor, I live here, Governor. That was my daughter's school, Governor. Please tell me what you're going to do. I'm not going to hurt him, I promise.
I'm literally talking to the president right now to specifically answer the question of what we can do for you and your daughter.
Can I hear it? Can I hear your call? Because I don't believe.
So he says, I'm literally talking to the president right now, meaning Biden, not Trump. This is before Inauguration Day. I'm literally talking to the president right now. And he holds up his phone to show her. And then her next thing is, put me on with him. I wouldn't talk to the president too.
I don't believe it.
I'm sorry. There's literally, I've tried 5 times. That's why I'm walking around to make the call.
Why is the president not taking your call?
Oh, I'm trying to get the call. Oh, I'm not actually on the phone. Just trying to get a call.
Because it's not going through. So
Why?
I have to get cell service.
So let's get it. Let's get it. I want to be here when you call the president.
I appreciate it. I'm doing that right now. And it's to immediately get reimbursements, individual assistance, and to help you. I'm devastated for you. I'm so sorry.
Remember back in 2021, Newsom literally lied about wildfire prevention. And California media even investigated this. An investigation from NPR and Cap Radio found that the governor had misrepresented his accomplishments and even de-invested in wildfire prevention. The investigation found Newsom overstated by an astounding 690% the number of acres treated with fuel breaks and prescribed burns. And when one of his liberal voters accosted him after a fire, basically in tears, he's like, I'm talking to the president as we speak. I gotta, excuse me, ma'am, I can't talk to you now. I'm talking to Biden. Oh, wait. No, he's not actually on the phone. I'm trying to get through to him. I need to get to a place where I've got a signal. Newsom claimed, according to the NPR, that 35 so-called priority projects carried out as a result of his executive order resulted in fire prevention work on 90,000 acres. His own state's data showed the actual number was around 11,400. Well, it's relevant now because today Newsom on X blasted President Trump. There's a new ranch fire in San Bernardino. That's short for San Bernardino, a county immediately adjacent to us on the other side of the Nevada communist border, right? Well, Communist Republic of California, Nevada border, right? There's a big fire, and just 4,000 acres, but growing. And he writes, 5 of California's 14 National Guard fire crews are understaffed because Trump deployed them for a political stunt in LA. It's not just illegal, it's dangerous. Okay, well, first off, it isn't illegal. Nothing that Trump has done is illegal. And what's dangerous is the years-long effort by Newsom to make California less safe in the face of wildfires. This has been a deliberate strategy by Newsom, and I've shared with you the veto, the governor's own veto of funds for fire prevention that cites the need to have communities built around urban centers so that public transit is used. He doesn't want homes being built out in the hills, single-family homes. He doesn't want your kids playing out in the street in a cul-de-sac. He doesn't want communities outside of the cities. By the way, they want you in the city in California. Newsom wants you in the city, in some high-rise, rabbit house buildings so that you don't have a car. You have to take the train everywhere. And by the way, that's the same city where they're going to let their feral pets loose on you every time they want to scare you half to death. It is sick. These people are sick. And this vision cannot be brought to a national level. It happened under Biden. The same people running Biden were very much in tune with the Gavin Newsoms of the world. Now imagine that instead of a comatose president, you actually got a guy there who believes this stuff and is going to work tirelessly to advance an agenda like this. It's absolutely horrifying. Newsom gave in his speech, in the finale of his speech, something that ought to worry all of us. He says the very nature of our democracy is under attack. Now, I'm going to play this. I want you to think every time he says our democracy is under attack and our democracy is being targeted by Trump, really think the Democratic Party machine. That's what this is all about.
Look, this isn't just about protests here in Los Angeles. When Donald Trump sought blanket authority to commandeer the National Guard, he made that order apply to every state in this nation. This is about all of us. This is about you. California may be first, but it clearly will not end here. Other states are next. Democracy is next. Democracy is under assault before our eyes. This moment we have feared has arrived. He's taking a wrecking ball to our founding fathers' historic project. 3 co-equal branches of independent government. There are no longer any checks and balances. Congress is nowhere to be found. Speaker Johnson has completely abdicated that responsibility. The rule of law has increasingly been given way to the rule of Don. What Donald Trump wants most is your fealty, your silence to be complicit in this moment. Do not give in to him.
Well, Let's think about this for a minute, right? Other cities are going to be next. That's part of the plan. He already knows that because the people that are funding him and the people that he supports in turn are behind it. He knows that there's a series of dominoes that will fall across the country. It's already happening. Conflagrations are popping up in Seattle, in Chicago. It will spread to cities all across America. And on one side of it is common sense, law and order, Donald Trump and the rest of America. And on the other are these lunatics led by, pretty people like Gavin Newsom who, look good, admittedly, but are real, they're actual arsonists when it comes to our country. They don't want democracy. They fear democracy. Democracy chose Trump. Democracy chose law and order. Democracy wanted a closed and secure southern border. That's what democracy brought us. This has nothing to do about votes. This has nothing to do about the vox populi. This has everything to do with the Democratic Party maintaining power in spite of popular opposition to it and the ends that it seeks. Sam Mirejovsky, News Talk 840 KXNT. Back in a moment. Great news out of Washington, D.C. The House just voted 213 to 207 to move forward with approving President Trump's first round of DOGE and other spending cuts, around $9.3 billion. NPR, PBS, and USAID are all on the chopping block. Sam Mirejovsky, News Talk 840 KXNT. I suspect that this is one of the many factors that is softening the tensions between Trump and Elon Musk. I don't know if you know this, but Elon tweeted out a regret tweet late last night. Literally wrote, "I regret some of my posts about President Donald Trump last week. They went too far." So, I don't know. Listen to my show on Monday. I didn't comment on it Thursday or Friday. Obviously, was out on my way to Florida, so I didn't get to it. But my show on Monday covered it. And go into the archive, listen to it. It was I think we did it in the second hour, Robbie. Simply put, Musk is a guy who is he's got a little bit of Asperger's. I think there's a drug use problem. I do. And I think he got all hopped up and all mad seeing an enormous investment of his energy into something, into Doge, get traded as a political chit. And it just sent him spiraling. Now he's seeing the political process play out. He realizes, that he had gone too far. He's calmed down. He's taken a breath of fresh air. And Trump, for his part, is making some conciliatory noises as well. So what, was the highest DEFCON level last week is now seeming like it's going to peter out, which is, what my gut on this was, from the beginning. And when people came to me, I had somebody in LA who's a conservative guy come to me and said, this was last Friday, said, "Sam, Trump is going to put Musk in jail." I was like, no, he's not. Come on, get real. This is well, Sam, what do you think is going to happen? Nothing is going to happen. So as of right now, I think I'm more right than wrong, and put it that way. All right. So, yeah, we're going to continue talking about Newsom. Folks, the next 3 years, we're going to talk a lot about Newsom. Newsom right now is setting himself up to be the number one candidate for the Democratic nomination for president in 2028. Now, I want to speak directly to all of you, my friends, my listeners. I adore you. And I know what the temptation is to dismiss to dismiss Gavin Newsom as a serious contender. Now, I want to put to you, Robbie has a great analogy for this. Robbie, if I may, I will borrow this from you. If you play Russian roulette, you have a 5 out of 6 chance of winning. Right? If you got a 6-shot revolver, 1 bullet loaded, 5 out of 6 chance you're going to win. Spin the barrel, whatever, click, 5 out of 6 chance of winning. I still wouldn't play. Neither would you. Gavin Newsom would be a bullet into the head of this country. Look at California. Again, largest economy in the 7th, 8th largest economy in the world, has beautiful coastline, perfect weather, fertile farmland, wine country, both in the north and in the south, ports. I mean, there's nothing California doesn't have. Beaches, mountains, Silicon Valley, Hollywood. It's a toilet. It is a disaster. Can you imagine what a Gavin Newsom would do with it? And you, and look, he will do anything. He will say anything. He is attractive. He is far better on his feet than Joe Biden, than Kamala Harris. I would argue he's more likable than Hillary Clinton. The Democrats routinely, and I know people like this, who in 2015 and 2016 says, oh, please, please, Republicans, oh, we want you to pick Trump. We want you to pick Trump. He's so bad. Oh my gosh, he's so bad. We want you to pick Trump. We know he's going to lose. You remember that? I remember that because it happened. Now, I'm not comparing Trump to Gavin Newsom. I'm comparing the blind side that we all have as human beings, where we are where when we have an idea or a concept. Now, of course, the left has the wrong concept of Trump. We know that, but he is, obviously, in his own words, an opposite of what leftists want. And yet they wanted him to run because they felt that he would be easy to defeat. And it was a blind spot because Trump was so obviously conservative. He said, no, we got to close the border. We got to, what was it? What did he call? S-hole countries. We got to get people out of S-hole countries. He called some of the people that cross the southern border as murderers and rapists. Of course, he was right. But, the left got the vapors, but on the other hand goes, yes, please pick this guy as your candidate. Pick this guy as your candidate because Republicans, you're never going to get across the finish line. You won't get 40% of the vote with this guy, let alone 50. So what's my point? My analogy with Newsom is that he is a radical leftist. Now, he's trying to do a pivot more to the center, but at the same time, he's still doing this stuff and being the lead TDS-afflicted anti-Trump candidate. He's encouraging riots. He doesn't want federal help in quelling riots. He wants businesses to burn. He wants misery and suffering. He wants all of this stuff. And so you're looking at it going, how could anybody possibly vote for this? The problem is there are a lot of people in the country who might vote for him. Now, is it enough to get him across the 50% finish line in a general election? Probably not. But I sure as hell don't want to risk it. I'd be far more relieved, if I have to be perfectly blunt, with a Pete Buttigieg as the Democrat nominee or Kamala 2.0. Gosh, let J.D. Vance run against Kamala. Oh my God, just please. Kamala is so bad. She's so stupid. She can't think on her feet. And she's unlikable. I have Democrat friends who can't stand it. Kamala Harris comes up on the TV and they just go, oh, my brain. They agree with us on her. Then I talked to them about Gavin Newsom. I go, well, actually, he seems like a nice guy. They're not in the details. All Gavin Newsom has to do is lie. That's all he has to do. He just has to lie and lie and lie beautifully in a very glib way, in a way that just makes everybody feel good. And it will capture a certain number of people out there. So I'm not predicting, hear me out, I'm not predicting a victory for Gavin Newsom in the general election. I do think he's going to be the nominee. But I think he's a candidate that we have to take seriously. We got to think about how to take him down. And I think Trump's doing the right thing because I think, generally speaking, people don't want to fear their house burning to the ground. They won't want to fear having feral gangs of criminal miscreants running through their neighborhood and burning their businesses and looting their stores. I think generally people want law and order and safety. So we, the Republicans, have to think about it and have to be sure we pick a candidate, because it's not going to be Trump running. We have to pick a candidate who represents that. We have to pick a J.D. Vance type person or a Marco Rubio who represents that and have that be the antidote to the vision that the Democratic Party under a Gavin Newsom type leader would be promoting in the election. All right? Think ahead. All right. Sam Mirejovsky here, News Talk 840 KXNT. See you tomorrow, folks. Be well.